my days. They took what we were doing before, which by the way, if you haven't seen, it's going to pop out right there. What we were doing before in indices and turned the powers into fractions. Who the heck does that? Anyway, I'll show you how to navigate your way through that very challenging world of fractional indices. You may learn something new. You might be new here. I just thought about that. If you are, please click on the subscribe button below. Also hit that notification bell so you do not miss another upload. I upload things very often. So in order to keep in the loop, you need to subscribe. Also, lots of my viewers are watching my stuff, but they're not subscribed. Come on, guys. Hit that subscription button. I really need the subscription. You just need to click it. Cost you nothing. Cost me everything. So it would be really good. Anyway, without further ado, don't want to keep you back any further. Let's go deal with this topic of fractional indices. Let's establish some rules. I have a base, and the base has got a power that's a fraction like that. If it's got that, then this is the same as the root of that base, but the root needs to be to the power of that bottom number or your denominator. So in other words, if I see a to the power of half, then that's the square root of a. Notice I did not put the 2. Why? It's in the name. It's a square root, so there's no need to put the 2. But if it's a, let's write that, a to the power a third, then it's the cube root of a, and so on. So that's what fractional indices do. If you have to have a fraction there, don't forget it's the denominator that goes there. The denominator goes there. The denominator goes here. Sometimes the fraction can be a little bit more tetchy. A to the power n over m. And if that's the case, it's going to be that m root of a, and then we can put that power of n outside. So notice the denominator still goes there, but the numerator goes outside there. It can go either way. It can also go like that, the m root of a to the power n. You can put it in there as well. But I like it outside because it keeps things less complicated, okay? So some examples of that is if I have a to the power 2/3, that's going to be the cube root of a, and then you square your answer when you've got it. So notice the denominator goes there and the numerator goes outside. I hope you get it, okay? All right, let's go now and do these 3 questions, and I hope you're looking forward to that because that's going to be fun. Not really. Anyway, just joking. Let's go. Now, first of all, the square, the 64 to the power of a half. Now, we've already learned here that if you see the power of a half, it's the square root. So we just do the square root of 64. We know that 64 is a square number, so that's going to be 8. Now, if you didn't know why I knew that, and why you should know that, click on the pop-out banner and go watch my video on powers and roots. And I'll show you in that video how just knowing your times tables, you can find the square root of pretty much any number. All right, let's move on. Next one. So now we have 9 to the power of 3/2. Now it looks like this. So the numerator goes there, and the denominator, goes on the outside of the square root, and the numerator goes there. So let's go and do that. So this becomes the square root of 9. Notice I didn't have to put the 2 there because, like I said, it's already the square root. And the 3 goes out there. So let's work that out. The square root of 9, well, that's going to be 3. And then I've got a 3 out there. Now this 3 has a power of 1, okay? And we learned that in our very first video on indices. Okay, so there's a 1 there. And then the powers will multiply here. Again, if you're not too sure, go check my first video out from the pop-out banner on indices. Okay, so then that means this becomes 3 to the power 3. which is going to be 27. And again, if you don't know why, 3 times 3 times 3, that's 3 to the power 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So now that we're dealing with the fractional indices, do you see how much foundation you need in order to access this? You need to know a lot. You need to know your square numbers. You need to know how to square root. You need to know how to use the laws of indices from before that I've taught you in order to work here. All right, I've said all that because I was trying to avoid doing this last question. Anyway, let's go for it. So on this last question then, it looks complicated, but it really isn't. Let's split things up a little bit and use the knowledge we have got. And I hope I don't lose you doing this. So I'm going to split it up and I'm going to say it's the square root of 36 times the square root of t cubed divided by 2t to the power minus 2. So what I've done is I've split it up. So rather than have one massive square root with everything in it, you can split this up like that. And this comes from a topic of surds. Check my video out on square roots to see why this is possible. All right, let's go. So that then is going to be equal to, well, we know the square root of 36 is 6. So I can evaluate that down to 6 times t to the power, wait for it, 3 over 2. Oh my days, where did that come from? Well, if I see square root of t to the power 3, that comes from here, doesn't it? You got the square root, so this number is my denominator. And the top number in there, that's my numerator. So look, it's a square root, so there's a 2 here. That's my denominator. Has a power of 3, that's my numerator. All right, cool. So now I divide that now by 2t to the power minus 2. And look at that. It's looking beautiful already because 6 divided by 2, that's going to be 3. So I know I'm going to have a 3 there. And then this looks like my laws of indices, my second law, where I'm going to have 3 over 2 or 1.5 take away 2. All right, let's write that down. So this becomes 3 over 2 take away that negative 2. And we're about to do some fraction work here. And if I'm about to lose you, click on the pop-up banner and go watch my video on adding and subtracting fractions. Really important you check that out. But we're going to do this mentally because it's really easy. So this becomes 3 to the power 3 over 2 add 2. Why? Because of those two negatives there. So you can check out my video adding and subtracting negative numbers. Anyway, let's crack on. Now let me show you how we can work this out mentally, okay? 3 over 2 is 1.5. If I add 2 to that, that becomes 3.5. Now 3.5, if you really think about it, you're going to need a number where 2 goes into it 3 times but has 1 left over, and that number is 7. So this is 3 to the power 7 over 2. If you want, you can go work it out by hand, but that's 3.5. And this question is now finished. If you want to make it look neat with a square root, you can probably say that this is the square root of 3 with a 7 as a power out there. That's up to you. You don't get any extra points for that though. And that brings us to the end of this video on fractional indices. This was a beautiful one. That last question was a bit of a pain, but I hope you enjoyed it all the same. Don't forget to give this video a like. Thank you for watching that video. I hope you have learned something new. If you have, please give this video a like. Please also make sure that you have subscribed below and you've hit that notification bell so you do not miss another upload. The RostyMaths channel appreciates your contribution. Anyway, until I see you on the next one. Peace.